good times roll. And a man, oh
Yes.
man, not a even better guest than the one and only Cody Lightning for this good times rolling freaking episode, right?
Oh, absolutely. This guy is a bundle of energy from start to finish. He's got an amazing attitude. He's fun. He's infectious with the laugh and just his whole approach on everything. I have a feeling that Cody lets the good times roll. I'm
Oh
just going to
yeah.
say, when you listen to this interview, I think you'll agree Cody knows how to let the good times roll in the best way possible, but it's a really fun interview, man.
Yes, for sure, for sure. It's gonna be an amazing freaking episode. This guy, I just feel like he's so humble, and
Oh,
like I love his popcorn questions too, because we teased it on our social media. If there's anybody who would want to work with, he chose his friends. I
yeah.
mean, who
Yeah.
does that? You have so many other people who are like shooting for the stars, but that, I mean, it's such a humbling thing to ground you as an entertainer and as a creator to
For
be like,
sure.
oh yeah, this is why we do it. It's because we love the craft. And
Exactly.
this man definitely does. He loves telling stories. And I'm super excited for everybody to hear his interview. But that is later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. Hello, everyone. So, you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the three biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching nonstop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, episode 249 of
Woo!
ITCAFpodcast. And you know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mouse.
What's up?
Man, oh man, it's going to be a great show. It's the last one before Fat Tuesday. We know we've been talking about Mardi Gras all freaking season, and I am representing Queen Venus, Queen Bailey Wiltz. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to give a special shout out to her. She is an amazing individual. She is actually my fiance's maid of honor. I know you can speak more on her than I can, but I'm just super happy to have come in contact with her, and she's just such an amazing individual and one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met, to be
I
honest.
have known B Dog since she was a tiny little girl in second grade, and now she is a grown ass woman. And she is the most amazing young woman. And I am so thankful that she has been in my daughter's life for her whole life. I think that friendship and that bond that the two of them have been something really special to watch over all of these years. I've always known that if Emily's got somebody in her life that if she felt like she couldn't come to mom or dad, she had somebody there. She had somebody that was going to have her back and take care of her. That's B-Dog. That's Bailey. That's who she is. And now she's kicking it in finance. She might, who knows? She might like finance a film for us. Who knows? She's
Who
killing it.
knows?
She's a smarty. She real smart, and just I could not be more happy for her. You're right. She's an amazing individual, and I'm so glad you guys are gonna ride with her. And it's gonna be an amazing time, no doubt about it. So congratulations, Bailey. We always knew you were a queen bee, dog. We always knew.
Yeah, she
It
is
just
literally Gulf Coast Queen Bee. She
yeah,
is the
yeah,
Queen Bee.
for
All
sure.
hail Queen Neptune. We absolutely love her, but I just wanted to give her a little shout out at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
And of course, be sure, before we tease the rest of the show, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and let us know what you actually think about ITCAF Podcast. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on this podcast actually helps this podcast get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, but especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry. That's what it's all about, man. Us here at Crazy Ant Media are all about lending the helping hand. So we do what we can. We do what we can.
That's
And
right.
it's an amazing experience. I love it every single day to come across someone who is just getting their feet wet and being able to pass along those pieces of advice. So it's always amazing.
And you
But we
never
do have,
know,
oh,
right? No,
yep,
I
you
just wanted
never
to say
know.
you
You never
never
know.
know who you're talking to or how they may be connected or who they might know. I was talking to my friend today that I've known for quite a while, and all of a sudden he's shooting me some contacts of like all these A-list people, and I'm like, bro, what? And, like, so you just never know. It's such a small little community, so don't be scared to talk. If you are trying to break into this industry, talk. Tell people you're trying to get in the industry. Tell people you're passionate about it, because you never know who you are talking to. Just a little piece of advice off the top of the show. You never know who you are talking to, so open your mouth.
Exactly. It's very important. But there is a lot of stuff happening in the entertainment industry. Boy, oh boy, we have an update on Jonathan Majors and all of that shit show that's going down. We have an update on the Pelts trying to invade the Disney board.
Yes, we do.
Have a couple of different things from Warner Brothers, a couple of things because the big game is this weekend.
Yes.
That's right. The Super Bowl, 49ers and Chiefs. Boy, oh boy. I definitely got some bets out there. So I'm
On Swifty?
hoping they
On Swifty?
well, yeah, I mean, they even have bets. You can bet on anything for the
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
yeah.
They have bets to see how many times the camera pans to Taylor Swift during the game.
This might be the first Super Bowl in history where the bets in Vegas are more on Taylor Swift than the actual game. You can bet on whether she's going to get proposed to. You can bet on whether she's going to be down on the field for the championship presentation. You can bet on whether she's going to endorse Biden. You can bet on whether, just so many things. I'm like, wait, what? What about the game? Can we bet on the game? Who's going to score first? Who's going to get the most points? Who's going to be MVP? Remember that stuff that we used to bet on? Like, I don't know.
Right.
But...
Well, it's even got down to the science of how long is the national anthem going to be?
Yeah.
If it's over or under like a certain amount of time.
Dude.
Like, this is so wild. I've never seen anything like this before, but I'm not a betting man. So this is my first year all engulfed in it. So that's very funny.
Yeah, I got a little money on it. I'm hoping.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. See what happens.
Mr. Irrelevant. That's all I'm saying, Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right.
Let's get the job done, buddy.
But before we get this thing started, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We have a merchandise sale on right now, 15% off everything in our store.
Yes.
From now until the 12th. So be sure to check that out.
Yes.
But we have merchandise sales going on so many times during February. We have another one coming up on Valentine's Day as well. So be sure to follow us at Crazy Ant Media and at ITCAFpodcast to stay up to date with those merchandise sales. It's very important.
It
so
is.
You can start rocking some Crazy Ant Media gear. We do have Valentine's merch out right now, so be sure to check those out as well. But like I teased a little bit earlier, we are going to be keeping you up to date with everything that's going on in the dumpster fire that is Jonathan Majors. And we do begin this week with the craziness. The actor's domestic assault case has been prolonged again.
Yes.
Now, Majors was expected to receive his sentence on Tuesday. Now, this is a month after he was convicted of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. However, the sentencing was delayed to April 8th due to motions filed by his legal team to set aside the verdict. Judge Michael Gaffey said the new date will give prosecutors time to respond to the motion, which was filed on Monday. Majors didn't attend Tuesday afternoon's hearing in person, but instead appeared virtually because he lives out of state. Now, based on his charges, he could face up to a year in jail. And while he awaits his sentencing for conviction on reckless assault and in the third degree and harassment in the second degree stemming from the incident in March of 2023 between him, the actor, and his ex-partner, of course, Grace Jabari, 2 more women have come forward with new abuse allegations against him, accusing the disgraced actor of physical or emotional abuse and reports from the New York Times. Now, the report also cited interviews with 20 other people who allegedly that Majors has been historically a history of volatility, and per the New York Times, and that he repeated confronted female coworkers while on the set of HBO series Love Country, leading to several complaining about him to the network. Now, the Times reported references that account from Emma Duncan and Murrah Harper, who said they dated Jonathan Majors between 2013 and 2019. Now, Duncan told the Times that Majors physically and emotionally abused her, and Hopper alleged emotional abuse. Now, per the report, both women described Majors as a controlling, threatening figure who isolated them from friends and career pursuits. Now, Hopper and Duncan also both claimed that Majors repeatedly threatened to kill himself throughout their relationship, which is mental and emotional abuse to them because they feel like they're doing something wrong. This guy is just such a fucking jackass.
Yeah, yeah. And listen, I know where the defense attorneys are going to go. I know where people who are fans are going to go. They're going to say they're just repeating the stuff that the girlfriend said. Oh yeah, said he was going to kill himself in front of me too, or oh, he did that to me too. But if the New York Times is saying that there were 20 other people on the set that can confirm that behavior, well then
Right.
now it's a pattern. You can't just say they're lying and just repeating what they heard. If there are 20 people that can back that up, then this is now a pattern of what this man does. And yeah, dumpster fire is a great way to explain it. And this industry is so hard to break into. It's so hard to elevate yourself to a level of success that this man has reached. And to throw it all away by being a piece of shit human being, it blows me away every single time that we hear these stories about people like that. And it's the same thing in sports or whatever. When you get to a level where less than 1% of the world gets to, and then you fucking do that shit, it's like, I will never understand it. Jonathan Majors, dumpster fire, full rage. We'll keep you updated when he gets sentenced. We'll let you know. And when he gets sentenced, will these other two file charges? Because he might spend more than a year in jail. Who knows? I mean, Hey, let's jump over to some positive news. Also, if you listen to the industry news segment on our show every week, you know we're pretty good at predicting things. Well, we predicted this one quite a while ago. We've been saying it should happen. We said we thought it would happen eventually. Well, it is. I'm talking about the Academy Awards, and the Oscars are casting a wider net. Casting being the key word. The Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced a pleasant surprise this week by creating a new competitive Oscar category for Best Achievement in Casting. Now, don't get too excited. It's not going to happen until next year, which kind of bums me out. But it's all good. It's all good. It's going to begin at the 98th annual ceremony for films released in 2025. Now, this is the first new category created by the Academy since 2001 when they introduced Best Animated Feature Film. The casting directors branch was formed in July of 2013 and has nearly 160 members. Now, category rules for eligibility and voting for the inaugural award will be announced in April of next year with the complete 98th Academy Awards rules. The specifics of the awards presentation will be determined by the Academy's Board of Governors and its administrative leadership at a future date. Now, the fight for the recognition of casting directors dates all the way back to the early 1990s when there was a fervent push to add it to the ceremony. However, it did not have widespread support back then and didn't come to fruition. Now, in March of 2023, the Academy created the Production and Technology branch comprised of key technical and production positions in all phases of filmmaking, from pre to post-production in Hollywood. Now, this year's 96th Oscars will be held on Sunday, March 10th. I love this. We called this. It's about time because for me, you just can't have these things without a cast, and you can't do that without the casting director. The only thing I'm bummed about is it didn't happen this year because hands down, John Papsidera would have won this year. He would have won the Oscar for it for Oppenheimer. There's no way you don't win that because he's got everybody in that film. But I'm so thrilled that this is happening.
Yes, completely agree. Completely agree. There are a couple of other ones that we still want to see get seen by the Academy Awards, but this is a start.
Yes.
So we're happy to see it. We're happy to see it. Well, we're going to jump over to Disney, and they have followed suit. Like Netflix, they're going to be starting to convert with those, password piggybackers. They're trying to convert that into paid customers. Now, following the lead of Netflix starting last summer, Disney Plus and Hulu over the past week have been notifying U.S. customers of changes to their subscriber terms, which now explicitly forbid users from sharing their login details with anyone who doesn't live in their primary residence. Now, those go into effect for the existing subscribers on March 14th. Now, Disney Plus accounts suspected of improper sharing will be presented with new capabilities to allow their borrowers to start their own subscriptions. Now, later in 2024, Disney Plus account holders who want to allow access to individuals outside their household will be able to add them to their accounts for an additional fee. Disney is hoping that it can follow in the footsteps of Netflix on the page sharing front. Now, Netflix execs have credited the broad account sharing initiative, which kicked off last year in more than 100 countries, with helping the boost of subscriber numbers. And it definitely did help Netflix's subscriber numbers. So we'll see how that goes. I also do like, though, how Disney and Hulu are talking about, if you want to have somebody else in a different house, it's just that additional fee.
Yeah.
I like that a lot
I do.
because, families who are no longer, in the same household, like parents and children, I feel like that's beneficial. So I like that.
Yeah, and I think it should be something reasonable. $1.50, $2 a person.
Yeah,
If you're adding on
something, yeah.
$1.50 extra to everybody who's doing this, who's got illegal subscribers out there right now, $1.50 per everybody that's not actually a subscriber would be a boatload of money. You don't have to go crazy with it. It's like, oh, if you want an additional family member, it's $10 fucking. That's like practically the price of signing up for your own account anyway. So I think that if they need to be smart about it, and the reason I'm saying that is because, and I'm about to tell you why, they lost subscribers because of raising the prices already. So you don't want to repeat that. So be smart about that, how much you're going to charge a family member for joining on.
Yeah,
Now,
I would say no more than $5. No more than $5.
yeah. And I think even that, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pay more than that, but I even think that's a little too high because what is it right now? The bundle's only like 15, right? So
Yeah, it's like 20.
20?
It's up to 20.
But even
Yeah.
still, you'd be paying a fourth of the cost of it just to be an
Yeah.
add-on. You might as well just
Yeah.
get it yourself. I mean, if you're paying $5, I mean, anyway. So we got the Peltz battle going on. We know he is trying to get himself on the board, and he's got a proxy fight going on. There's another company that's trying their own proxy fight to try to get their people on the board. So this, ladies and gentlemen, was a very critical time for Disney. Their third quarter results numbers came out, and if they had been bad, well, that could have done really well for Peltz in the battle, trying to get rid of Iger and get themselves on the board. But guess what? Disney's profit blew away the forecasts, although the revenue did fall a bit short in a key and solid earnings report from the company, which hopes will set the stage for robust growth. Now, revenue was flat, as I said, at $23.5 billion for Disney's fiscal first quarter ended in December. Diluted earnings per share were $1.22, up 23% from the year before. The company said a focus on costs led to $500 million less in selling, general and administrative and other operating expenses savings in the quarter. Now it's on track to meet or exceed a $7.5 billion annualized savings target by the end of the fiscal 2024. Disney also expects full-year fiscal 2024 earnings per share, excluding certain items, to increase by at least 20% year over year and free cash flow of $8 billion. And a dividend payout that's 50% higher than the last one, and a hefty new stock repurchase plan was also announced. Now, on the earnings call, Disney CEO himself, Bob Iger, in what likely will be his biggest platform to send a message to Wall Street ahead of the company's annual meeting in April, where that vote will go down, reaffirmed that its streaming business, which has been the target of attack by Peltz and everybody else, he said that it will be profitable this summer. its fiscal fourth quarter, and losses narrowed in the division thanks to higher revenue per user and efforts to control costs. Now, in a critical quarter for the company, which is facing, as I said, proxy fights with a pair of activist investors, Nelson Peltz's Trian Partners and Jason Anatobi's Blackwells, Disney said that its streaming business lost $216 million in the quarter, including sports. Now, that's down from $387 million last quarter and from more than $1 billion a year ago. Yes, so a year ago when Nelson Peltz started his fight against it, they had lost more than $1 billion on the streamer. This year, only $250 million. I mean, that's a drastic move in the right direction, y'all. The company said that the subscribers core at Disney Plus did fall slightly by 1.3 million, chalking up the adjustment to the price hike in the quarter. That's why I was saying be careful on how you do that with Disney Plus. However, it expects subscribers to surge in the next quarter to 5.5 million or 6 million. Now, the company saw its average revenue per user improve thanks to a price hike and better performance from the ad-supported tier of Disney+. Hulu saw its subscriber base rise by 1.2 million. So it evened out. Disney lost 1.2, but Hulu gained 1.2, so they really didn't go anywhere. Iger also announced a slew of projects and deals, including a partnership. This one is huge. I know you're probably excited about this one. A $1.5 billion investment in Epic Games that will bring Disney franchise intellectual properties like Marvel, like Star Wars, into the Fortnite universe. A surprise Moana sequel, and a fall 2025 launch date for ESPN's direct-to-consumer flagship streaming service. Now, shares have, of course, popped after all that news, up by 7% on the numbers and the news, over $100 for the first time in quite a while. I'm excited. And we got a little story a little bit later, just a couple stories from now, and yeah, that 1.2, don't worry about it, because a move that they made, you're going to get that back in half a second when we tell you the news. Don't worry. Swifties will make it up. You'll see. It's fine.
For sure. And there's something tiny that I want to mention too, but there's not a lot of details on it, so we didn't put the whole story in. The launch of a sports platform between multiple studios. So, I mean, that will be very interesting. Like I said, not a lot of things have been released as far as details, but I do know that Disney, Warner Brothers, and a couple of other studios are going to be involved, but the two that are not involved are CBS and NBC, because they already have their own platforms where they stream on their streamers live events.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's going to be like a Hulu situation at the very early days where a whole bunch of different people own this platform. And so we'll stay on top of that and we'll talk about it.
And don't you think that's a little odd? We're definitely going to be talking about it down the line, because I found it odd that they entered into this agreement and then knowing that they were about to announce on their earnings call that they're going to launch their own ESPN streaming service direct to consumer. Yeah. Because ESPN, ESPN Plus, ESPNU, ESPN2, all the they're part of that deal with the other studios. But yet next year they're going to launch their own. So, I mean, are you going to keep it on the other one while you launch your own? That seems...
I think we're living in a bundling world, and all the executives are like, okay, you can bundle it with Max, or you can bundle it with Disney, you can bundle it with this. I think that's kind of where we're at. But it'll be interesting, man. Like I said, we'll stay up to date with everything that's going on. But I mean, we remember how Hulu worked out. Disney's about to have control over all of it. So I can only imagine that the same is going to happen for this about 10 years down the line. But like I said, we'll keep an eye on it.
We will.
Anyway, filmmaker Dan Trachtenberg and 20th Century Studios are going hunting once again. Yes. Now, Trachtenberg, who earned an Emmy nomination for his 2022 Predator movie, Prey, is returning to the sci-fi action horror franchise to make a new installment.
Yes.
Now, the title is Badlands. The new Predator feature is not a sequel to Prey, which was set in 1719 and centered on a young Comanche woman forced to fight for survival against the intergalactic hunters, but rather a brand new story but rather a brand new story is going to happen.
Right.
Now, plot details are being kept secret, but this one is said to be set in the sometime in the future,
Hmm.
like Prey. However, it too will feature a female lead, which is awesome. As with Prey, Trachtenberg also wrote the story with Patrick Asen, with the latter penning the screenplay. The project has been working under invisibility for some time and is far enough along that a July start of production is being planned.
Oh, wow.
Now, Badlands isn't the only Predator project in the works. The surprise success of Prey crossed from critics to audiences and reinvigorated the franchise. Now, the studio is planning to host a host of Predator projects with Trachtenberg at the center. So that's very exciting. Prey was fantastic. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to be really good. And I mean, we also live in a world of franchises. So we'll see what happens.
I am super excited about that. I loved Prey. I was like not looking forward to it. I'm like, because I've seen a couple of the Predator sequels, and they just
Yeah.
weren't as good as the original. And then Prey was just like, whoa, okay, this is good. So I like the fact that he's going to be in charge of kind of building this franchise back up. I also like how he's bouncing all over. He went way to the past. Now he's going to go to the future. That's kind of cool. All right, Swifties. Swifties, can you hear me? Unite. It's time. Taylor Swift keeps cashing in on her blockbuster Eras tour. Now, I know what you're thinking. You went and saw it in the theaters. Then you rented it or bought it on VOD, and there was some extra stuff. You got to hear a couple extra songs. So why would you need to worry about Disney? Well, let me tell you why you need to worry about Disney. Disney paid out more than $75 million to the singer-songwriter entrepreneur to exclusively stream Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, Taylor's version on Disney Plus worldwide. Now, according to sources, Disney outbid Netflix and Universal Pictures, which of course handled the VOD distribution for the film, for the streaming rights. Now, Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, after its wide theatrical premiere October 13th, ranked in $261.7 million at the global box office, making it the highest grossing concert film to date. The film was shot at the first 3 LA shows of the Eras Tour from August 3rd through the 5th of last year. Now, the 2-hour and 45-minute theatrical release omitted several songs from the performances. The newly expanded version of the Eras Tour will debut March 15th on Disney Plus. Now, among the bonus songs, yes, I said bonus songs, y'all, included on the streamer will be Cardigan from Swift's 2020 album Folklore, plus 4 acoustic songs, but neither Swift nor Disney has yet revealed what those 4 songs will be. Now, the digital release of Taylor Swift The Eras Tour was released on December 13th, Swifty's birthday, of course. That version, distributed by Universal, included 3 bonus songs that were not seen in theaters: Wildest Dreams, The Archer, and Long Live, which pushed its runtime to 3 hours and 1 minute. So if those are also included, plus the 5 new songs, this thing's going to be like 3 hours, 45 minutes, almost 4 hours long. But you can watch it on Disney Plus. And the good news is, guys, based on all the research we're doing and all the things that we're seeing coming out about this, they're not going to put it under that bullshit stuff where you have to pay for it, even though it's just going to be on Disney Plus. So no premium charge to watch it, which is fantastic. Because I thought for sure after shelling out $75 million, they were going to put it under the premium charge to have to watch it. But no, you're not going to have to pay. It's going to be great.
Under the regime of Iger, I doubt we ever see that premium ever again.
Yeah, Chapek would have done that. Chapek would have fucked up and put it under the premium.
Oh, he would have. But something else that we're very excited about, and, going back to when we first announced this project, I was very hopeful for it. And I think, for so long, Disney has been focused on Marvel and Star Wars. And especially right now, like, both of them are kind of on a rockiness right now, right? I mean, they're walking over coals. But Percy Jackson and the Olympians actually has been renewed for its 2nd season on Disney Plus. Season 1 has been streamed over 110 million hours across both Disney Plus and Hulu. Divided by the season's runtime, that translates to roughly 20.6 million total views, suggesting that the season's audience grew throughout its month-long run. Now, episode 1 hit 13.3 million views in its first 6 days of availability. The series was also a hit for critics as well, earning a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm halfway through the first season, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm really loving that there are different franchises that Disney has faith in
Yeah.
besides their obvious flagships. So that's really awesome, because the Percy Jackson story has always been very interesting to me and obviously to many others. So I'm excited to see where they continue going with it.
Yeah, and that's good news for everybody involved, right? You got something to fall back on while you're retooling your other franchises, which is
Yeah.
always good. This sounds like it's going to be pretty awesome too, with everybody involved. James Marsden, Julianne Nicholson, and Sarah Shahi are joining Dan Fogelman. You know the name. Dan Fogelman's upcoming Hulu series, the Untitled series, was first announced in April of 2023. The trio joined previously announced series lead, which is no surprise because of Dan Fogelman. Sterling K. Brown himself, Oscar nominee, is the lead in the show. Now, exact plot and character details are being kept under wraps, but sources have previously described the show as a thriller and say Brown would star as the head of security for a former president. According to an individual with knowledge of the project, Marsden will play the president. Shahi will play a therapist to powerful people with secrets of her own. Ooh, maybe the president's done some shady shit and he's confessing. We don't know. Nicholson will play a political power broker. Now, Fogelman serves as the writer and executive producer on the series via Rhode Island Ave. 20th Century Television is the studio, with Fogelman currently under an overall deal there. Now, if you guys don't recognize the name Fogelman, This Is Us. He's a creator of This Is Us, hence Sterling K. Brown, etc., etc. I like this, though, because that is the furthest thing from This Is Us that you could think of when you're hearing what the story is potentially about. So I love that he's going in a massively different direction and that he's taking it. I think it's going to be really good.
For sure. And I think James Marsden is actually really underrated. He's freaking solid, man. He's got a wide range of projects of different drama, comedy, like where he plays a dumbass or where he's like super serious, or freaking Cyclops.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, he's a good actor that I feel like not enough people give him credit for.
No, I agree completely.
But honestly, it wasn't all good news for Disney this week, though. A crew member working on Marvel's Wonder Man television series died after an accident at Radford Studio Center. Now, the LA County coroner identified the crew member as Juan Osorio, a 41-year-old rigger who goes by the nickname of Spike. He lived in Temple City. Osorio died after falling off the rafters Tuesday morning. Now, filming for Wonder Man was not occurring at the time of the incident, and production is now halted for the day, obviously. On Wednesday, a GoFundMe promoted a fundraiser set up for Rosario's friends by his friends. The fundraiser has a set goal of $200,000 and currently has more than 1,500 donations, totaling over $162,000. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
We always talk about how amazing set life is and how fun it is, but in situations like these, it can be very dangerous. We know everything that happened on the Rust set. It's different instances like that make these things difficult and that make them a little dangerous. And that's why you have to take the proper protocols, and that comes from all the way at the top through all the way at the bottom. And sometimes freak accidents happen. So my thoughts and prayers go out to his family. It's just such a hard thing to see, especially to another creative filmmaker, below the line person, because he was living his dream.
Yeah,
he was
man.
working on sets, and it's so sad to see.
It is. And, we're hearing about it, unfortunately, more and more often. And I think that the studios have to really get together, and the unions have to get together and do a better job of regulating the safety on these sets. We've heard about stories. We've reported on our own show about stories of people working well beyond the hours that they're supposed to and not getting the proper breaks and not getting... Guys, when you get a rigger that's climbing up there installing stuff, 100 feet in the air, 200 feet in the air, and hasn't slept, That's potentially did. Now, I don't know what happened with him or what the incident was or what the accident was. But what I'm saying is they're overlooking some of these safety things. And I think we need to do a better job of locking down and setting the safety standards on a lot of these sets to prevent more of these type accidents, because it's
Agreed.
just a terrible thing. And another terrible thing, in an escalation of a standoff over her firing from The Mandalorian, Gina Carano is suing Disney and Lucasfilm for discrimination and wrongful termination in a lawsuit that opens another front in the battlefield for influence over Hollywood that has drawn in corporate America. Now, Carano, in a complaint filed this week in California federal court, alleges she was fired for voicing right-wing opinions on social media and seeks a court order that would force Lucasfilm to recast her. Now, Elon Musk is making good on a promise to foot her legal bills for users who claim they have been discriminated against due to their activity on his platform, and is helping fund her suit through X. Now, in a statement, X's head of business operations, Joe Barak, said, "As a sign of X Corp's commitment to free speech, we're proud to provide financial support for Gina Carano's lawsuit, empowering her to seek vindication of her free speech rights on X and the ability to work without bullying, harassment, or discrimination." Lucasfilm in 2021 announced that Carano would not be returning to the hit series after sharing a post in which she said, "Most people today don't realize that to get out the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?" It was the latest in a long string of posts in which the former MMA fighter drew the ire of social media users for positions seen as right-wing on the hot-button issues. Now, Carano, who was dropped also by UTA following the controversy, previously mocked government mandates to wear masks during COVID-19 pandemic and falsely suggested that voter fraud occurred during the 2020 presidential election. Now, according to the complaint, Disney and Lucasfilm harassed and defamed Carano for refusing to conform with their viewpoints on issues relating to Black Lives Matter, preferred pronouns, and disproven claims of election interference. While she was allegedly fired for her cultural and religious beliefs, Carano argues that in the entertainment giant turned a blind eye to her male co-stars who allegedly made offensive and degenerating posts directed towards Republicans. She points to Pedro Pascal's 2017 post comparing former President Donald Trump to Hitler. Now, the suit faults Disney's termination of Carano as the impetus for UTA and her transactional lawyer dropping her as a client. Carano brings claims for wrongful discharge and sex discrimination. She seeks a court order that would force Lucasfilm, as I said, to recast her and at least $75,000 plus punitive damages. Now, when Disney CEO Bob Iger was recently asked what his thoughts were on Musk backing the suit and potentially others like it against the company, Iger flatly said, "None." My man said, "None. I don't have thoughts on it. I'm not answering the question. I got nothing to say." I mean, I just think when you're under contract and you're working for a company, it's kind of like the military. When you sign up for the military, you're not allowed to publicly state your political views. You're just not. It's understood under the Uniform Code of Justice. You are just not allowed to. That's not a restriction of your First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. It's just under this contract, you are not allowed to publicly put out your views. And I mean,
I was listening to a podcast today, further discussing, the topic of, the First Amendment and this situation, and how, if she wasn't under contract with this specific company, it probably wouldn't have been a problem.
No.
But since she was under contract, they have the right to do that. I just see this getting thrown out and nothing being crazy. And every time, man, I want to like Musk, but he just has this vendetta against Disney. I even heard him say one time where he was like, "I'll start suing Disney every other month," just because he just doesn't like Disney. And it's just so frustrating.
I mean, he tweets, "Disney sucks." Like, I mean, this is a grown-ass man, the richest man in the world, and he is tweeting infantile stuff. "Disney sucks." Like, grow up, man. Grow the fuck up.
That's it. Yeah. But we're going over to Fox. Watch out. King John, your Community co-star Joe McHale is coming for your Kinsday crown. Throughout a
Oh,
series of fill-in gigs, McHale, who also stars in Fox's sitcom Animal Control, will be all over Fox's Wednesday night lineup in the upcoming weeks. That's because McHale is set to fill in for Jung as guest host for the network's Musical Gamer, I Can See Your Voice on both Wednesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, and Wednesday, February 21st. And then on Wednesday, February 28th, McHale is back, but as a guest host on We Are Family, filling in for regular host Anthony Anderson. Now, McHale will host the special 2-hour season finale of We Are Family in its entirety. All of that leads to the season 2 premiere of Animal Control on Wednesday, March 6th on Fox. Now, the network is definitely invested in McHale because earlier this week, Fox revealed that it had already picked up a season 3 of Animal Control. Fox is marketing the full McHale press as Joel Control. In addition to Animal Control, McHale also hosts Crime Scene Kitchen on Fox. I mean, good for him, man, because I
yeah.
remember back in the day when he was on Community and when he was hoping The Soup, I think that's what it was called.
Yep.
And I mean, he's such a talented individual with a witty sense of humor. So I love the success that he's getting right now.
Yeah.
Kudos to him.
Yeah, same. And Animal Control's really funny. If you guys
It
haven't
is.
checked it out, you should check it out. It's a really funny show. It's great. All right, well, now we mentioned this story on last week's show, the re-teaming of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, and we mentioned that they had a project, but it didn't have a studio. Well, guess what? After a heated bidding war, we're jumping over to Warner Brothers now. After a heated bidding war, Warner Brothers won the rights to that latest collaboration from writer, director, producer Ryan Coogler and star Michael B. Jordan. Now, Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group's Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi confirmed the studio landed a deal with the duo for the Untitled movie based on an original script by Coogler. Now, details about the plot are being kept under wraps, as we told you last week, but it has been described as an original genre film. The new movie marks Coogler and Jordan's fifth collaboration, beginning with Fruitvale Station in 2013 and continuing with the Creed and Black Panther franchises. Now, DeLuca and Abdi also have a successful track record with the duo as they greenlit Creed 3 during their tenure at MGM. News of the project surfaced last month when it was reported that Coogler and Jordan were teaming up for a mysterious new project based on a spec script from Coogler that was showcased to executives and buyers at the WEME offices, William Morris offices. Coogler will direct the film, his first time behind the camera since 2022's Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and produce via his production company, Proximity Media, along with Zinzi Coogler and Sev Ohanian. I think I said that right. Proximity's Rebecca Cho is executive producing. Now, both Coogler and Jordan are on a hot streak. Coogler's 4 directed features, Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, and Wakanda Forever, all of which star feature Jordan, have collectively earned more than $2.4 billion at the global box office, while Jordan recently stepped behind the camera for Creed 3, which set a franchise box office record and was heralded with great reviews. Now, Coogler's Proximity Media has an overall exclusive TV deal at Disney, where he has a number of projects in development and is also behind the highly anticipated Marvel series Ironheart for Disney+. So these two are killing it. These guys are fantastic. Started with a conversation over coffee at Starbucks, y'all. That's how Fruitvale Station started. Boom. So that's where the magic happens, is Starbucks on a corner in any city, anywhere. If you want to get into this industry, start at Starbucks.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
That's it. Well, The Color Purple is making its streaming debut on Max on February 16th. Now, the movie musical remake of Warner Brothers and directors Blitz Bazuel is up for an Academy Award and received 2 SAG Award nominations and 17 NCAACP Image Award noms. It stars Fantasia Barrano, who reprises the role of Celie after playing her on Broadway back in 2007, as well as Danielle Brooks, who received a Tony nomination for the Broadway role and is now competing for the Best Supporting Actress Oscar. Now, Coleman Domingo, Taraji P. Henson, and Haley Bailey also stars in The Color Purple, which boosts producers including, Oprah Winfrey,
Yes.
Steven Spielberg, Scott Sanders, and Quincy Jones, and is a film adaptation of the Broadway musical, which itself was adapted from 1985 Spielberg film based on Alice Walker's novel. And there is a behind the scenes documentary right now on Max that I actually started watching the other day, and it's freaking fantastic. I want to watch the original first and then watch the musical one. So I'm pumped.
Oh yeah, have you not seen the original yet?
I haven't.
Oh yeah, it's freaking awesome. That's where Harpo comes from. Oprah,
Nice.
backwards,
Yeah.
Harpo, but Harpo, you'll see if you watch the original, you'll go, fuck, Harpo.
Like, ah.
Yeah, ding ding, you'll see it. Now, have you guys checked out our 2024 predictions on YouTube yet? Have you checked out our video? Have you listened to it? Do you know what we were thinking was coming? If you have listened to it, you're gonna know what I'm talking about with this story. If you haven't, go listen to it after you hear this story, because I think I might be right. Investigation Discovery has unveiled the trailer for Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, a 4-part docuseries revealing the toxic work conditions behind children's shows in the 1990s and early 2000s. Specifically, those from Dan Schneider, the creator of the beloved Nickelodeon shows such as iCarly and Zoe 101. Now, the series will premiere across 2 nights on ID from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern on March 17th and 18th. Now, per the press release, Quiet on Set sheds light on allegedly insidious environment rife with allegations of abuse, sexism, racism, and inappropriate dynamics with its underage stars and crew, featuring cast members, writers, and crew from Schneider's popular Nickelodeon shows. These include former All That cast members Giovanni Samuels, Kylie Sullivan, Brian Hearn, and Katrina Johnson, and director Virgil Fabian, as well as the Amanda Show writers Jenny Kilgan and Christy Stratton. Now, Alexa Nicholas will also share her experience working on Zoe 101. Additional cast and crew from iCarly, Sam and Cat, and Victorious will be featured in the docuseries, as well as Mark Summers on the popular game show Double Dare. Now, Quiet on Set will also offer emotional testimony from the cast members' parents, who say they tried to advocate for children on set. Schneider, who is referred to in the trailer as Nickelodeon's golden boy, helped launch the careers, of course, of Josh Peck, Drake Bell, Miranda Cosgrove, Ariana Grande, Jamie Lynn Spears, and more. Now, in the trailer, interviewees explained that working for Dan was like being in an abusive relationship, detailing various complaints filed about the showrunner over the years. Per the release, the series contains allegations that shine a spotlight on these emotional accounts, chronicling a pattern of gross abusive and manipulative behavior that unfolded across decades, as well as exclusive stories about child predators on set. Now, by combining interviews, archival footage, and scenes from shows and social media commentary, Quiet on the Set will recontextualize moments from Schneider's series. Now, a spokesperson, of course, came out for Schneider, releasing a statement after all this came out. Dan cared about the kids on his shows, even when sometimes their own families, unfortunately, did not. He understood that what they were going through, and he was their biggest champion. The fact is, many of the kids on these shows are put in unattainable position of becoming the breadwinner for their family, and the pressure that comes along with that. And on top of that, the difficulties of growing up and having to do so under the spotlight while working a demanding job as a child. That is why there are many levels of standards, executives, lawyers, teachers, and parents everywhere, all the time, on every set, every day. However, it is still a hard place to be a kid, and nobody knew that better than Dan. I watched the trailer, and apparently there was, if you watch this trailer, they certainly are implying that a underage person was being drugged and taken advantage of, being drugged. And the parents were like, and even the writers, they were like, what, on that show? And they're like, was it a kid? And they're like, no, it couldn't have been. And they're like, it was an underage performer. They were shocked. I mean, the rumors have long been about Dan Schneider, long been. So this doesn't surprise me in any way. It doesn't shock me in any way. I think a couple of those young actors, now grown-ass adults, will come to his defense because, I know that a couple of them did write horrible things about their own parents, and maybe they'll agree that they were the breadwinners and taken advantage of and stuff like. But I think this is scratching the surface. Like I said in my predictions, I think somebody from a major studio will take a fall, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be something that's going to be shocking. I think this is the start of that.
Well, you know what's crazy? They always talk about Disney, all the Disney kids who had a roller coaster of an experience after leaving Disney. But I mean, so did Nickelodeon. Like, I mean, Drake Bell, Josh, like the girl who played Sam and iCarly. Like, there's a bunch of kids in that Dan Snyder universe that did kind of go off the rails. So I'm excited to watch this just for an informational based. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be crazy. Seems like it really is.
And pay attention for a name in there. I don't know if it's going to be mentioned in this show, but I can guarantee you after this show airs, Mr. Schneider will be mentioning this name. I can guarantee it. I can see it coming, and look out. Look out. That's all I'm saying, Paramount. Look out.
For sure. Well, speaking of Paramount Pictures has renewed its first look development deal with Ryan Reynolds' Maximum Effort Productions. Now, under the 3-year term, the pact will extend through December of 2026. Now, the agreement between the studio and the production company covers motion picture developments for all of Maximum Effort's projects at all budget levels. That's the key thing right there. Shit. Under the deal, Reynolds will star in and produce as the previously announced Boy Band, with Sean Levy's 21 Laps also producing. Those two are really tight, man.
Oh, yeah.
The story is by Reynolds, with an original script co-written by Reynolds and Jesse Andrews from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, what I know that Dustin loves.
Love it.
Levy, who has worked with Reynolds on The Atom Project and Deadpool 3, is attached to direct as well. Now, Paramount Pictures and Maximum Effort are also developing Starter Villain, based on the best-selling science fiction novel by John Scalzi, with Andrews attached to adapt. There's also an adaptation of the book series Eloise, with partner MRC, as well as the original action comedy Gaslit Express, with Reynolds teaming up with the Deadpool writing duo Patrick Wernick and Rate Reese. Now, next up, Reynolds produces and stars in Paramount Pictures' family film If, which also stars John Krasinski, who is producing and directing the film. Now, If, that one starts on May 17th. And if I remember correctly, that's the one about your imagination, which looks really funny. And I think that'll be a good family film.
Oh, without doubt. Look, he's just killing it. He's doing it right. He's living the life. I could not be more happy for him and Sean Levy. And throw in the trio, because Hugh Jackman is real tight with that group too, and just like amazing. And yes, Jesse Andrews is a phenomenal writer. I'm so happy that he's adapting all this stuff, because he is incredible. And if you haven't checked out, Dying Girl, like, you got to check it out. It's a fucking phenomenal film. All right, we got a little game going on Sunday. Maybe you've heard about it. It's called the Super Bowl. Well, on Sunday night, Mike Benson gets a little over 7 minutes to cap off weeks worth of work. The CBS marketing chief will use promo time allotted to Paramount Global during the Super Bowl to turbocharge a broad array of campaigns that he has set in motion the past few months, aimed at getting viewers excited about one of the most unorthodox TV seasons in history. In fact, it's the first time since 1954 that a broadcast network is launching a season outside of the fall, due, of course, to the recent Hollywood talent strikes. Now, CBS will use the Super Bowl to tout not just the new drama Tracker, which gets its debut right after the end of the game, but also Ghosts, Fire Country, So Help Me Todd, and Young Sheldon. Now, some of that promo time will be allocated to the free on-demand outlet Pluto, as well as Paramount Plus. all part of the parent company's Paramount Global. Now, CBS has also run promos that tout its Monday and Tuesday night schedules instead of individual shows, something that's obviously easier to do since a suite of NCIS series run on Monday and 3 FBI programs run on Tuesdays. Now, the marketing tactics are crucial for Paramount, which has been viewed as an acquisition candidate by Wall Street and needs to demonstrate its prowess in getting people to watch its content in sizable numbers. And though CBS is not paying directly for the time, it can't be squandered because it's fucking valuable. The network has been seeking anywhere between $6.5 and $7 million for a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl. That is huge. That is massive. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they promote all the new shows. I'm excited to see little stuff going on and everything. But if we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, I just got to tell you, one of the rumors is that we're going to finally see the first teaser trailer for Deadpool 3. Beyond Swift, beyond the game, I am the most pumped and excited to finally see Wolverine in the costume with the fucking mask. With the mask. If they hit me with that during the Super Bowl, I'll probably pass out on the fucking floor from excitement. I have been waiting. The first time Hugh Jackman appeared on screen as Wolverine was before Emily was born. Before my daughter was even born. Check that. She was a baby, barely 1. It was the year 2000, so she hadn't yet turned 1. But she was still a baby, like baby. 24 fucking years. We're finally going to see him in the mask. I cannot wait. That's a Super Bowl Sunday. That's the one thing I'm the most excited about. I can't help it. It doesn't even have anything to do with the Super Bowl. It's fucking the Wolverine in the mask.
That's it.
I'm a comic book geek, bro. I don't care if it's a split second. A fucking 20-second spot with a split second of Hugh Jackman in the mask. That'll be it. That'll be done. Heaven over.
You can probably turn off the game right there.
It's done. Then. Bam! Who cares about Swifty? Bam! Who cares about Mahomes? I saw Hugh Jackman in the mask. Done.
We're good. Well, heading over to NBC Universal. Now, Universal is down a director for its upcoming Jurassic World installment after negotiations with David Leitch went the other way of the dinosaur. Literally 24 hours ago, this story was completely different. We're going to talk about how he was kind of attached, sort of, kind of. But now the parting is said to be amicable, though, so that is always good. However, the breakdown in talks leaves the studio in search of a new filmmaker to take over one of its most popular franchises. A new movie in the Jurassic World series is currently in development at the studio with David Koepp, who adapted the 1993 original Jurassic Park and its 97 sequel, The Lost World Jurassic Park. From Michael Crichton's best-selling novel set to write the screenplay, the project is expected to launch a fresh new storyline, but it is unclear if previous stars like Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum will be back to try to stay one step ahead of the Tyrannosaurus Rex's jaws. But, I don't know, man. I mean, the first one was good. The first Jurassic World was good, but then each one kind of just went down.
Agreed.
So we'll see what happens there.
We will. Sometimes you just need to know when to call it quits. That's all I'm saying.
Literally.
Let it go. Kevin Williamson, I'm excited about this one, has set an overall deal with Universal Television where he is developing 4 new series adaptations of Alfred Hitchcock's 1954 film Rear Window, Ruth Ware's 2022 book The It Girl, and David Fincher's 1997 film The Game, as well as an original series titled The Waterfront. Now, if you're not quite sure, Kevin Williamson, why does that sound familiar? Well, he is, of course, the man behind launching Dawson's Creek and The Vampire Diaries, among several of his film and TV credits. He enters the deal, and the Scream franchise. Duh, he's the guy behind the Scream franchise. He enters this deal along with his production banner, Outer Banks Entertainment. Now, if greenlit, the Rear Window series will stream on Peacock. It is billed as a reimagining of the Hitchcock film, which follows a photographer who uses a wheelchair and begins spying on his neighbors through his window. Williamson serves as the writer and will executive produce alongside Outer Banks' Ben Fast and Davis Entertainment's John Davis and John Fox. Now, I can't even speak today. MKT Productions also produces. The It Girl will follow a woman on search for answers a decade after her friend's murder. Williamson writes with Sarah L. Thompson as both executive produce with Ware and Fast. The Waterfront is a family crime drama that will follow the dysfunctional Buckleys as they struggle to keep their crumbling North Carolina fishing empire afloat. Williamson writes, he and Fast executive produce. Now, like the film, the game follows a wealthy San Francisco banker who is given an opportunity to participate in a mysterious game that turns his life upside down as he begins to question if he might really be a concealed conspiracy to destroy him. Now, Williamson and Fast executive produced that one with John Bracanto and Michael Ferris, who wrote the screenplay for the film. Awesome.
All good things, man. All good things. I mean, paying homage to Hitchcock, I feel like, is one of the biggest things, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Well, we're heading over to Lionsgate. We're returning to Pan Am with Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. Proved to be a very profitable Lionsgate film. But the writers and actors strikes that unpended Hollywood imperiled the company's ability to produce new television episodes, putting a strain on its third quarter earnings. Now, the company, which is in the midst of spin-offs for this film and its television business from its Starz streaming platform, reported a net loss of $107.4 million. Now, that is compared to the $15.2 million in profits that Lionsgate logged in the same quarter of 2022. Now, revenue topped out at $975.1 million. Now, that is a drop from the $1 billion that the company reported the prior year's quarter. Now, the company's adjusted earnings per share of 27 cents was down from the 21 cents per share reported at the same period back in 2022. Now, it was a mixed report, one that showed the lingering financial impact of the strikes that ground the entertainment industry to a standstill as the creative community hit the picket lines. Now, the company's adjusted earnings beat Wall Street's forecast, though, even as the revenues fell short of projections. Now, Lionsgate's motion pictures business was a source of strength with the Hunger Games prequel and, of course, Saw X scoring at the box office as well. Now, segment revenue increased by 53% to $443.2 million compared to the prior year's quarter. Segment profit increased by 31% to $100.4 million. And at the same time, Lionsgate television business struggled to keep up, weighed down by the impact of the Hollywood labor disputes, as well as the declines in television licensing fees. Now, segment revenue dropped to $248.4 million, a steep fall from the $605.4 million in revenue that the company reported the prior year in that quarter. At the same time, the segment saw a drop in profits from $71.5 million to $8.1 million. Now, the deal to spin-off Starz is expected to close in the spring. Now, Lionsgate Media Network's operations, which includes the streaming service, saw revenue increase by 10% to $417.2 million, while profit grew 73% to $85.5 million. The number of global subscribers stayed essentially unchanged at the 27.9 million. Now, Starz has curbed its international expansion plans, pulling out of Latin America, which did help cost cuts, but it seems like a very teeter-totter of experience for them right now, right? They're just trying to figure their life out.
Yeah, and with the television division struggling, I don't know why you're going to spin off the streamer that made $85.5 million and a 73% profit jump. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me. And you could have probably done better if you hadn't canceled Heels.
That's the thing. It's like, we understand cuts, but that's not the right cut.
Yeah, that just seems like a bad move to me. All right, let's jump on over to Amazon MGM Studios, who has more than enough money to do whatever they want to do. America Ferrera's directorial debut, I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter, based on Erica Sanchez's best-selling novel of the same name, is in development at Amazon MGM Studios, Orion Pictures. It was previously set up at Netflix, which is no longer attached to the film. Now, Flamin' Hot screams screenwriter Linda Yvette Chavez wrote the script, which follows Julia Reyes, a teen with dreams of becoming a famous writer and leaving her traditional Mexican immigrant parents in Chicago. They wish she was more like her sister, Olga, now eternally perfect since her tragic death. As Julia seeks to break free of her oppressive home, she tries to uncover her sister's truth and in the process gains a deep understanding of the wounds her family carries. Now, Ferrera has previously directed episodes of Superstore, the NBC workplace comedy that she also produced and starred in, but the film will mark her first time directing a feature movie. So congratulations to her. That's going to be awesome. She's a talent, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Completely agree, man. Completely agree. Anthony Michael Hall and Sonia Cassidy have joined the cast of Reacher as series regulars for the upcoming third season. Now, season 3 of the Alan Richardson-led action show is based on the 7th book in Lee Child's best-selling Jack Reacher series, titled Persuader. In the novel, Reacher goes undercover to rescue an informant held by the enemy from his past. Now, Hall from Bosch Legacy and Halloween Kills joins the series as Zachary Beck, who is described as a formidable and successful businessman, as well as a widower and a single father of a 20-year-old son, Richard. Now, Zachary owns a rug import company that Reacher and his associates believe is a cover-up for a more infurious operation. Now, Cassidy has been cast as Susan Duffy, who is an extremely intelligent and though tough DEA agent from Boston with a sharp and sarcastic sense of humor. Now, Cassidy is best known for The Man Who Fell from the Earth and Lodge 49. Reacher is currently in production in Toronto, Canada, after the third season renewal was announced in December, 2 weeks before season 2 dropped on Prime Video. Now, during its premiere weekend, that season was the #1 most watched title on Amazon's own streamer across television and film. So kudos to them. I know you're loving this right now. It's definitely got to be one that I want to jump on.
Oh yeah, you got to jump on it. And they're not huge episode seasons, so you can catch up really quick. And yeah, it's a phenomenal show. I love the casting, how they go from there's only a couple of regulars, him and one other, and then they recast every season because it's different. And I mean, come on, Anthony Michael Hall, been a fan since Breakfast Club. Hello, 16 Candles. Good to see he's got a career going on after that kid stuff. I'm super pumped for this season, man. All right, let's jump on over to Netflix, and I'm super pumped about this, but also super sad because it's sadly the end. Cobra Kai is welcoming back fans to the dojo, releasing a teaser of the cast celebrating that the show's 6th and sadly final season is officially back in production after Netflix announced plans to renew the show a year ago. Now, the upcoming season 6 will mark the conclusion of Cobra Kai. The show's 5th season packed a punch, opening to a 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, with an astounding 2 billion minutes viewed on Netflix in the first full week after its season 5 launch on September 9th, beating viewership for fall releases, including Amazon's Lord of the Rings of Power, and HBO's House of the Dragon. Now, the first 5 seasons, if you haven't caught them, are available for streaming on Netflix, and a release date, sadly, for the final season, yet to be announced, but I'm assuming that's going to be coming soon, so...
I hope so, man. I hope so. I mean, I dropped off the last season just because there was so much other stuff going on. But I mean, we always say it's cheesy, but it's the best type of cheese.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's one of those that I feel like a lot of people really enjoyed.
Yep.
Now heading over to Apple, rounding out our industry news segment. Haley Bennett and Dominic Cooper have joined the cast of the upcoming Apple Television Plus TV series, The Last Frontier. Now, Bennett and Cooper previously joined previously announced series leads Jason Clarke in the show, which received a 10-episode order back in February of 2023. Now, per the official description, the series follows a U.S. Marshal, Frank Remnick, who's played by Clarke, a lone marshal in charge of a quiet, rugged barrens in Alaska.
Ooh.
whose judicial blah, blah,
Jurisdiction.
uh, jurisdiction is turned upside down when a prison transport plane crashes into the remote wilderness, setting free dozens of violent inmates.
Oh.
Oh shit. Tasked with protecting the town he's vowed to keep safe, he begins to suspect the plane crash was not an accident. But the first step of a well-crafted plan with international political implications, Bennett will star as Sidney, described as a CIA agent who is tasked with working with Frank. Cooper will also star as Havelock, who is said to be a former Navy SEAL, and Fugitive, who is being hunted by U.S. Marshals and the CIA. This will mark the first TV role of Bennett's career. Congratulations to him.
Mm-hmm.
She previously, or her, my bad. She previously starred in films such as Swallow, Widow Coppercott, and The Magnificent Seven, and Crano. She is slated to appear in the upcoming Borderlands movie as well. So kudos to her, man.
Yeah,
Rocking
man.
and rolling.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff coming.
Seriously.
I'm excited about it. It's just nice to see it all back in full swing, man. All,
Agreed.
productions rocking and rolling and things debuting and things in motion, and it's just good. It was a long 7 months. It was a long 7 months. That's all I'm saying.
It was. But now it is time for our guest segment.
Yes.
Oh man, we're super excited. Cody Lightning. Let there be lightning. Man, this guy is like, I feel like just one big teddy bear that you can be best friends with, go get a drink, and knows so much about the industry. This man is so knowledgeable and such an eager person willing to give that helping hand. So I'm excited for everybody to hear this one.
Oh, for sure. And y'all, he keeps it real. He talks about having day jobs and, or as he calls them, survival jobs in between the gigs. I like a guy that comes on and says, I'm living my dream. I get to play every day. I'm doing all this stuff I love, but I also keep it real because sometimes I have to have a survival job. That's how the industry works. So you're going to get real advice from this guy. You're going to hear how it really goes in the industry, and it's inspiring, and hell yeah, Biscuits brings it. That's all I'm saying. That's right,
man. That's right. Well, here he is.
Cody Lightning, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Danse, what's up, boys?
I love it. Dude, we are so pumped to talk to you. We're super excited, man. First of all, huge congratulations on Echo. The show is just like, it popped right up on Hulu and Disney Plus as like the most watched thing. Even caused people to go back and start watching other Marvel shows, which was fantastic. Dude, we could not be more happy for that. We're all in on that. We're huge geeks, Marvel fans, and so that's awesome. We are definitely going to talk all about that. But we want to dive in because your story is pretty interesting, man. We normally start off about how'd you get started in acting, and was it something you always kind of knew you wanted to do? But I'm curious because if we did our research right, your family was involved in the industry and everything, and I always kind of find like that either makes you want to do it or run as fast as you can in the other direction. So which one was it for you?
It was a combination. So yeah, my mom. So I'm originally from Musqueam, Alberta, Canada, just south of Edmonton. Edmonton's the capital of Alberta. For the American listeners that don't know, it's frosty as hell up here. Just all last week it was minus 40 degrees, and I know the Celsius Fahrenheit comparison at minus 40, it's the same.
Yeah.
So it was minus 40. Yeah, Fahrenheit as well. Everything was freezing. Our elevator shut down, and I was in LA during that time, so I got to miss that. Thank God.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyways, so I'm originally from here, and my mom. I was 3.5 years old. I was a toddler. She was in a performing arts program here in Alberta, and her teachers and instructors and stuff were like, "You're made for more than just here. You should go to LA or New York." And she said, I have 3 children. Where do I want to raise my children? And where would I want to do this? New York or Los Angeles? So she did some research on both and said, I'll raise my kids in Los Angeles. So we made the move, a whole family move. My 2 other siblings and myself, and my mom and my grandmother. And my mom was going to school, so my grandma, took care of us a lot while we were in school. And my mom was going to performing arts school at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Okay.
I believe that's in Pasadena.
Yep.
I think that's in Pasadena. Yeah. So she was going there for acting, and she got us involved in the industry at a young age. So we did it as a family unit. And, with Indigenous cinema, at the time, there weren't a whole lot of projects coming out.
Yeah.
So there was maybe like one film per year, and everyone was doing what they could to be a part of that. And so, yeah, it's just, a lot of fish in the barrel at that point.
Sure.
And we were just, hoping to get involved in film and television any way we could. And then we all now have our own separate careers. And yeah, that's how it got started. So I was raised in Los Angeles. I lived there for about 13 years.
Okay.
And then moved and just kind of tumbleweeded all over. I moved to Idaho. I lived in Boise, Idaho for a little while. I moved to New York. I spent time in Oklahoma, Minnesota, Washington, just kind of tumbleweeded all over and worked in the States.
Yeah.
And I've been back up here in Canada for the last 11 years.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so I'm based here. I have my production company here, and we're working on projects here.
Oh,
nice. I love that too, because I mean, throughout your telling of how you got started, you could tell that family and a good support system has always been very important to you, and how to keep you moving forward, because that is something that I feel like you even sometimes the people who are closest to you can be like, okay, what are you doing? We need to figure this out. You're not doing this right. So it's always good to have passionate people who are basically doing the same thing as you as well. So that's really cool. And I feel like the beauty of it is nowadays, and it's interesting too, because from when you first started to where you are now, nowadays, I feel like you can really be anywhere and still be an actor. I feel like maybe when you were first coming up, they really wanted you in the major hubs and trying to develop yourself as a professional. Was that hard to do in, like an Idaho, or when you're traveling around the States trying to make it happen, but while also having real life happen?
Yeah. And I was in the transitional period.
Okay.
Of going from being in person, auditioning in person, callbacks in person, and chemistry reads in person to this.
Thank you, COVID.
Yeah. And like, even when I cast my film, I did it through Zoom, and I've never worked like that before. So I had to do chemistry reads through Zoom, and it's like, well, what if in front of this person and we're not vibing or gelling, and you just have to trust it. But this is the way it is now. You can self-tape in the comfort of your living room, or a room in your house where you have a backdrop that's playing, and send in your self-tape, and put your name in the hat. And it's wild. And the way I got cast with like Marvel as well, and like so I was self-represented for pretty much the last 15 years. I got all my own work. I didn't have any agents or managers, and only recently now I have a solid team that's like helping me to project my career forward and upward. But for years, because like I said, there was only one or two projects being cast,
right?
So everyone kind of knows of the project, and I would just email people directly, or they would email me directly and say, hey, Codes, do you want to audition for this? I'd say sure. And I got parts that way, and I had what's a survival job.
Right. Sure.
I did construction site cleanup. I worked at Costco for a summer. I did youth programs. I was a youth worker for the last 6 years on my res. Hockey player, hockey coach. So I was doing that.
Nice.
As well as working on my stuff and writing and working with friends and just living life. And you have, I have children. So dealing with partners and children, and just how the curveballs life throws at you with trying to have a career, it's chaotic. And then after I worked on Echo, now I have a solid team that's,
For sure.
yeah, they're on my team. They're trying to excel all of us to the next level. So that's amazing and awesome.
Well, and I love that you bring that all up because the industry has ridiculously changed. I mean, we're filmmakers ourselves, and we know exactly what you're talking about. When we cast our film, it was all Zoom, and when we're casting our television series that we're working on right now, it's the chemistry reads are all Zoom. And I don't care how great your internet connection is or how great your stable and Zoom is. There's that pause every now and then, and you think it might be great chemistry. You're hoping, you're praying, but then, like you said, then you get in front of each other, and you're like, "Oh, maybe that only worked with the pause. Maybe this ain't going the way we wanted it to go." Kind of a thing. So we understand that struggle. But I wanted to talk too because, like you said, there was like only a couple things, and everybody knew about it, and you knew this is what you were going to audition for and everything. So I want to talk a little bit about the giant. For the right reasons or wrong reasons, because I feel like there's a little bit of both with Hollywood. The big dive now into diversity and casting people, because I feel like sometimes they're doing it all for the right reasons, and then other times they're casting people so they can meet the diversity quota. And and it's not necessarily, they don't necessarily want that person for the role, but they have to have that person for the role type thing. And I think that's a great thing and a bad thing, because if somebody that deservedly deserves the role is missing out because of, or vice versa. So, I think everything comes with the good and the bad. You got to weigh it out and you got to figure it out. But I am glad to see, and talk about a little bit about your point of view on it, the diversity in action. Echo, let's just talk about Echo. It's an amazing representation of indigenous people. It is a legit for the hearing impaired community. She's actually an amputee. I mean, they're just like nailing it on everything possible. It's like we're gonna hammer the disabled. We're gonna talk about the hearing. We're gonna talk about indigenous. We're gonna bring it all in, and that's not always an easy thing to do, right? Especially like when they're talking about they've kind of changed up where her powers came from. So we're talking about we're going into these flashbacks and seeing indigenous and their belief systems and their all this kind of stuff. That's amazing. So talk about that. Were you excited to jump on board this show because of that? Is it one of the reasons that you really wanted to get on board with that? Talk about the whole experience there.
Yep, 100%. So our representation has been for years and years and years, centuries, not by us and not for us.
Yes.
And I grew up with kids that only knew of the Cleveland Indians Indian and the Redskins Indian, and that's what you look like. That's who you are. Like, that's it.
Right.
And that's not reality. And like for me personally, my projects are very contemporary. Res life or reservation life is both beautiful and dark and nasty at the same time. It's everything. And with Res Dogs, you were able to see some of it in both lights.
Right.
In the projects I'm making, you're going to see a very, very dark side to it, but with humor that comes through, because on my reserve where I come from, it's very dysfunctional, and I will say that. And no one from my community will say otherwise. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, there's beauty to it. Yes. With our culture, our ceremonies and everything, that's beauty. But there is so much dysfunction. But we are a humorous people. Even in the darkest parts of our lives, where we're losing people to drugs, suicide, trauma, all sorts of stuff, we're still able to laugh. We're still laughing. Even at a funeral, we're cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Even when you hear this terrible news, we're cracking jokes. And that's what I personally am making my projects on, because I've had some very dark things happen to me, especially in the last few years. Throughout my life, there's been these checkpoints of I say checkpoints, but like these moments that really have affected my life in the last 5 years heavily, in a very harsh, dark way. Yeah. And it was on me to decide if I'm going, like with the grieving process, if I'm going to stay down there in that pit of just, screw this shit, this sucks, I hate it, or are we going to crack some jokes? And let's get up here. And that's where I'm coming from with my project. So if you see Hey Victor, and then also my other script that I wrote that we're pitching to hopefully make this next year, you're going to see the very dark side of our community, but a crazy, hilarious, I don't know what word to use here, but like just in our humor to get through that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
for instance, like one of my very close friends passed away 2 years ago, and his brother, who's another good friend of mine, as he's being lowered into the ground, he's looking back, cracking jokes at us. And I'm like, it's not even in the ground yet, and you're cracking jokes. But this is what we do. This is what we do to like get ourselves through. So as far as like Echo and the representation of that, like the cultural aspect and everything, it's so beautiful and so amazing. Me personally, in my personal life with my personal projects, I'm showing like a darker side.
Sure.
Almost like Shameless, like the show Shameless. Like,
yeah,
I was just about to say, yeah,
it's so dysfunctional and dark and crazy at times, but it's hilarious. You're like, no way, that's along the lines, or like the show Fubar, or like Trailer Park Boys, like those really, crass, vulgar, humor. Those are the projects that I'm going to be creating.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's so important too, because what you're doing is you're bringing a reality to something that, like you said, back in the day, they only know you from sports teams and know your representation from sports team. It's like, no, this is not a cartoon figure. This is our reality, and this is what we are doing. I think that's so important because, there's so many misinterpretations about different things. Because I know in different communities as well, there are some a little hesitation about like talking about mental health and these type of things. And so to be able to have your process on how you are able to, get through things, there's no right or wrong way to get through some sort of trauma, your friend dying, there's no right or wrong way to get over that or get through that other than your process, whatever you feel is right for your soul, your body to be able to keep moving forward. So I think that is also amazing to hear because we need more stories like that. We talk about all the time, like we need stories that start conversations because that's how difficult conversations are had. It definitely makes it a lot easier. We always say the best form of education is through entertainment as well. So to be able to do that with what you're doing, I feel like is absolutely amazing because not enough of these stories are being told. So thank you for your trial and your effort to what you're doing to the entertainment space because like you, we are trying to do the same thing as well. We want people to leave the theaters or we want people to be in the living room, talk about these deep, dark subjects. We want people to be comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's just reality of the situation. Yep. But man, I'm just like, I don't know. I can feel your energy, like, and it's infectious. It's got me going. I'm really excited about it. But just like, I mean, when you get in these type of situations, like when you sit down and start writing, you tell what you know, right? Because it feels like you're not even really putting any thought into this. You're like, I'm gonna write what I know and tell my story. And so is that kind of how it goes, or are you like, okay, I want to make a film or I want to make a project about indigenous people so I can put that out there?
No, it's never been about that. It's literally, it's very personal, a lot of my stuff.
Yeah.
And before I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. And I have friends that are writers that are like, you need to write exactly like you speak, exactly like you tell the story.
Yes.
Put it down and people will gravitate towards that. And just how I am constantly with sharing stories, I've put myself in crazy situations and just literally just telling stories of my friends, my families, my uncles, my children, the kids that I've worked with, the experience that I've had or experiences that I've had with in life. I'll share a story and people are like, you could make that. So that's what I'm doing. And for years, I was only getting put out for kind of serious roles.
Yeah.
And people that know me were like, why aren't you going out for like comedic shit? Like, you're hilarious. Like, we love listening to your stories. And I'm like, I'm not getting put out for that. I'm not getting those opportunities. So it's like, well, make your own. And finally I was like, all right, I will. And I got together with my partner, Sam Miller, who I wrote Hey Victor with.
Yeah.
And we went up to the cabin in Banff, Canada, and got silly for a week and a half. And I was just pacing back and forth in a onesie, drinking beers and telling stories. And he was like, you know, and we went back and forth and we pumped out the script, and it works. And the same thing with this other project that we're working on. It's an Indigenous hockey film, because hockey's huge here where I come from, especially in the Indigenous community. And my experiences both as a coach, as a father, as a mentor, as a community member, and just the crazy things that I've seen and experienced and have seen others experience. We're going to put that in there. So you're going to have it is not a safety project. And I've said that before in other, you know, chats I've had with people. I've had ideas, and I've had friends who have had ideas for projects, and you know, some time goes by and it's like, hey, did you ever get that made? No. Why not? Because I got denied like 3 times. Well, why? Because it doesn't fit into this like criteria of, oh, that's right up our alley with what we want to make. It's not all about sometimes healing comes through vulgarness or like a dark path.
Yeah.
It's not all about like, this is who we are as a beautiful people, and this is our culture, and this is all this. Like, no, it's not always about that. I have had friends who have completely stopped trying to make their projects because they've been told no a couple times. But you know, we're a resilient people, so look how long we've lasted now, and now it's finally coming through where we're, you know, our stories are able to be told by us, where we have allies that are able to help us, and it's not 100% on this other person, non-Indigenous people, making these things and capitalizing on it, and it's us. And so with that, with my stuff, like I told you guys before, it's my projects are not going to be pretty to some. They're going to offend, they're going to, you know, trigger, and it's fine. But that's real. That is reality where I'm from, like my community.
Well, and I love that you're brave enough to do it, because like you said, so many people go, oh, well, they don't want to hear that, so I'm just not going to make it. And that's just crazy. And I love what you said, that sometimes healing is, you know, from a dark place, because you can't have light without darkness. They have to exist together. You have to go through the darkness to get the light, to get the healing. And so to know that and to put that out there for the world, I love that. And I'm glad that you're doing it in a vulgar way or an offensive way, and maybe and that's going to strike people, because I was doing some research, and nothing to do with this interview or anything else. I was looking into and I saw that amongst Pacific Islanders and Indigenous, the suicide rate is like ridiculously higher than in other races. And I was thinking to but now we're hearing you talk, and we're like, hey man, sometimes that life on the res ain't so great, you know, kind of a thing. And so I think that your bravery to put these stories out there and go, we deal with a lot of things with humor, but we're coming from some dark areas and some dark places, and this is how we get through it. And I think that's the right way as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, to put that out there. And you're so spot on. And whoever your buddy was that said, no man, you need to write it like, just say it like you're saying it, because that's so true. That's the dialogue that connects. They want people that are real, that they go, nope, I'm that guy, or I know that guy, and that's how you get it. So all fantastic stuff, man. And I could see that. I'm just gonna say it. I think you brought a little bit of you, now that you're bringing it up, and people were saying, why aren't you doing comedy? Biscuits? Yeah, that's you brought yourself into Biscuits. There's no doubt about that. The Biscuits was humorous from start to finish. I freaking loved him. He had this attitude about him. It's like, yeah, I fucked up that truck, but you know, I'm gonna fix that. So, you know, kind of thing. So talk about that. You brought a lot of yourself into the character, right? I'm assuming so, because Biscuits was spot on. I think he's the one guy in the whole show that everybody was like, I'm that guy. I can relate to that guy.
Oh, big time. So when I got cast for this, And I had my first couple meetings with Sydney Freeland and Kat, the directors and the other producers and stuff like that. It was a huge Zoom call.
Yeah.
The biggest ever. It was like 20 people on the Zoom. I was like, holy crap. And so I'm thinking, because Marvel, there's a lot of security, and
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was getting into at first. And I'm like asking questions. So this and this and that about the character, family dynamic, all this stuff, just getting the basic details. And I was like, do I got to get buff? Do I got to, clean up my act? Like, have you seen my social media? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of a wild person. Am I going to get in trouble or for anything? Like, then the wheels start turning like this is big time.
Yeah.
And Sydney like muted everyone and was like, Cody, we love you for who you are. Bring that. And I was like, okay, well, I have a dad bod, like a belly, but strong legs because I play hockey, but I still have a belly and like, all good. Like, cool. Yo, we want that. And I was like, sweet.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. I love everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I love it.
Like, and Sydney's an amazing director to work with. And all the other actors, we gelled so, the family dynamic of everything just gelled so smoothly. There was minimal effort to make it feel authentic, to be honest, like working on it to like make it feel like this is real. Like this is my grandmother who's giving me, flack here, and I'm the baby of the situation, and my situation with the cousins and all that stuff, and my uncle. Like it was so, I'm not going to say it was that easy, but it was in a way easy to fall into like that character. And I'm the baby of my family. Like, I'm the baby. And I have been spoiled in some ways by my mom. So like even my own sister's been like, well, why does he get this, and that? And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going at like, so it worked.
Hell yeah.
I love that, though. I mean, that dynamic is so important to have. And I mean, it definitely shows on screen and it comes out through your characters. So that's really cool. I'm curious, too, because I know they bounce around a little bit with these things. Where was it shot? Was it shot in Atlanta?
Yeah, just south of Atlanta. Yeah. It was hot, man. Oh, my gosh.
I bet.
Brutal. So I'm a winter person. Like, I can't flip the camera around, but there's snow all over. I grew up snowboarding. I rode snowboards and did contests. I play hockey. I'm a winter person.
Hell yeah.
Even though I grew up in Los Angeles, people are like, well, you should be used to the heat. Yeah, it doesn't mean I like it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Being down in Georgia, oh my God, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Oh,
the humidity kills you. It's an absolute. Oh
yeah.
Yeah. It's horrible.
We get it. We get it. We originally formed the company in the New Orleans area, so we know about that humidity, brother. We are right there.
And we're both Yankees, so you can imagine. I'm from Syracuse, man. I'm like right by Canada, And it literally has to drop below freezing before I'll put pants on. Everybody's like, it's like 17. You're wearing shorts. I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing shorts. I don't care. Hockey. What position did you play?
Usually center or right wing.
Yeah.
So I only took this last year off because I got work, and I didn't want to mess up my face, nose, my teeth.
Sure.
And I don't like wearing a cage. I'm not going to wear a cage. I'll wear a visor, and I usually wear that tilted back. I don't want to wear one, but in the league I play and you have to wear it. So I wear it tilted back, but I don't want to catch a puck or an elbow to the face and wreck any opportunities.
Yeah. No, you don't want to do that. I asked because I played too, dude. I'm in the net. I played in the net and I play too. And I love it. I mean, I feel you on that. There's a certain passion when you're out there playing, man. And you just, I loved it. So cool, man.
That's so great. I love it. It's so fun to get to know everybody past, the standard. Let's talk about your career. Let's talk about the industry. But I mean, it's always fun, man. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Well, what we like to do to finish up our interview segment is hit you with a little bit of popcorn questions. We have 5 questions for you. That they're fun. They're fun. Some will make you think a little bit, but hopefully not too hard, because we know you got some knockouts from hockey. Okay, we know now. We know
Is
now.
is there a kill one, bone one, marry one?
Oh man, no, but we should add that one in because look how quick he said that. He must have those answers right there. Now we might add that one in. Like, who do you want to kill, bone, or marry, my man? Come on, just lay it out. Marvel said they love you for you, okay? You're not going to be in trouble. We won't tell anybody.
What he was referring to. He was like, I'm kind of wild. Are you sure I'm okay? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh, that's so fantastic.
But I'm curious, though. The first one we always ask is, what do you think was the funniest moment or most memorable moment on the Echo set?
So one of my favorite moments was on my birthday. I had to film on my birthday, which is August 8th. Mm-hmm. And I love wiener dogs. I was a wiener dog owner at one point, and they brought a wiener dog to set that day. Oh. Yeah, because I worked with BJ, Billy Jack, or his actual name was Buzz, my dog in the show. And the animal handler brought a wiener dog that day, and I was just like, oh. And then that day, so Devery Jacobs, myself, and Pishon Bread, we all share the same birthday, and we were rehearsing a scene, and so they brought everyone in for the rehearsal, and Sydney was like, okay, ready, and they sang happy birthday to all 3 of us.
Nice.
And it melted my heart. I was like, no, oh my gosh. Like, I wasn't expecting it because I didn't even tell anyone it was my birthday.
Yeah.
And, wow. But they knew, and they sang happy birthday to all 3 of us, and it just melted my heart. It was awesome.
Dude, that's,
Also, another funny moment was just with Alakwa and I. The scene got cut. But it was Alakwa and I in a car, and we're driving. And Alakwa, when she signs, sometimes she whispers quite loudly. Yeah. And I forgot. Sometimes I would forget that she's deaf. I'm serious, like, because I would hear her when she was loud like that. Mm-hmm. She would whisper, and sometimes I would hear her, and I would sign back. But she was asking me a question about my daughter, and I didn't quite, so I wasn't paying attention to her sign. I heard her whisper it loudly, and I went, huh? And like, to talk to her, and she looked at me like, really, Cody? And I was like, oh crap! Oh, sorry. I forgot.
That is hilarious. Oh, that's a good one. That's
I forgot she was deaf real quick.
And hey, mad props for that too, because I read a story there that you guys all learned sign language to be able to communicate with her and everything, which I just thought was phenomenal. I mean, that's an awesome thing. Okay, I'm really curious about this one. The next question is, because your head seems like all over the place right here. If you could live inside any movie or TV show, which one would you pick and why?
Any movie or TV show? I'd say Ninja Turtles Part 1. I would love to. So now I would love to play Casey Jones.
For sure. Yeah. Okay.
Love the Ninja Turtles. I'm a skateboarder. Michelangelo was an idol of mine growing up. Any other TV show or movie? I love True Romance. Love True Romance.
Okay. All right.
Heroes. There's a movie called Huck and the King of Hearts. With Graham Greene actually is in it.
Okay.
And, yeah, he's like a card shark, and he I forgot his name, but he's the actor. He's in Sandlot. He plays Squints, and it's him and Graham Greene, and he runs away from home, and him and Graham Greene have like this like cool hobo runaway relationship.
Nice.
And they help each other. Yeah.
Well, we know you've bounced around tumbleweed all over, so you could totally live that and be real, right? Now, though, I can't get the image of Casey Jones with a dad bod out of my head now, though. I'm like, I want to see Casey Jones with the stick and the dad bod. Like, that's how you should be, right? I mean, come on.
Eating a greasy cheeseburger.
Yes. That's fantastic, man.
That is so freaking funny. I love it. Well, I mean, if you could work with anyone, who would it be?
If I could work with anyone, who would it be? Holy moly, there's lots.
Right?
Not like I love working with the people I've worked with already. I love working with Black Horse Low, Sterling Hardrow, Sidney Freeland, Stephen Paul Judd. But if there's anyone, shoot, I would say, I don't know. Shoot, that's a tough one. There's a lot of like independent filmmakers and like friends. Yeah. I would want to work with my friends. Oh. There's like big time. I would want to work with my friends to create something that would like boost them up.
Man,
to be honest,
that's awesome.
What a great answer. Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay, well, if you thought that one was hard, here we go. I'm going to do my Barbara Wawa hit on you now. If you could go back in time and talk to your 10-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, God. This can go in a couple different directions. This can go in a really nasty direction, a really vulgar, perverted direction.
Right. Yeah.
Or like a really safe, kind, soft direction.
Hey, man, we've got the E next to it. You go whichever way you want to go, my friend.
Whichever way you want.
You know what, 10-year-old Cody, live, laugh, love. You know what, fella? Just live, laugh, love. No, absolutely not. Don't go snowboarding when you're 14.
Oh. Do we want to know? We probably don't want to know why.
That's a very personal thing. I got very hurt. I have a really bad nerve damage in my right hand that has affected me. It's affected me. So when I learned sign, I had to learn with my left hand because my right hand, I have really bad nerve damage in it now. Yeah. And people don't really know that unless I mention it. But there's been scenes where I have to hold a gun. There's been scenes where I had to do things physically that I can't because of my right hand. And it was one day, I remember it was one day I wanted to go snowboarding because I used to snowboard all the time. I did contests and stuff, and I was like, I want to go. And my auntie was like, no, you should just stay home today. I was like, no, I'm going. And I went and I got really hurt. So don't go. I forgot the date. I forgot the date. But don't go snowboarding from the age of 4. Yeah. 13 to 15.
All right. Hey.
Anywhere in between there.
That's right.
That's so funny. This last one is a little deep. Are you happy with your career so far?
100%. I have had a lot of longevity in this. I've had ups and downs and stuff like that. And there's that cliche, like, if you can change anything about your life, what would you change? Nothing, because, it made me who I am. But really, I've heard that before. But, like, I've had an amazing career. And sometimes, like, I have to pump the brakes with myself. And it's really, like, my mom and, like, close people to me that are like, you've accomplished so much. So much. And I'm still doing that. But at my age and throughout my life, like these checkpoints in life, and I look and I'm like, I've done this, that, the other thing. Holy crap, man. I'm so honored and blessed that I've been able to do this. And I look at, like, there's millions of people and everyone watches movies, everyone watches TV, and I get to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I get to have a piece of it, and it gets to have a piece of me. And it's a blessing. Like, I don't take any of it for granted ever. Anytime I'm ever offered something or have to work to gain something in this industry, it's such a bonus. And like just today, going back to my community, there was a couple people that were like, "Hey, are you Cody? Oh, keep making us proud, brother! Like hell yeah!" And it like warms my heart, man. And it's like so amazing. So just the fact that I get to be in this industry, and I've had my ups and my downs. I'm over it. I'm giving up. I hate this. I love this, and everywhere in between. And I still do it. I still do it. And shoot, I forgot his name. He was the actor. He's on Low Key. He was on. He won an Oscar last year.
Key.
Yeah,
Key,
yeah.
Yeah, and he was on
that Kwan or something like
that. Yes. Sorry. He was on. He's been in so much. Sorry, it's
so
slipping my mind right now. But in his speech, he was like, "I almost gave up on my dream, and don't give up on your dream." And it's true because you can. Like I've had survival jobs where I was like, "This is what it's gonna be. Like I'm gonna be doing this,"
Yep.
And it's okay, but it's temporary. And like now, everything's like back in action and things are happening in an amazing way. But with that, something that I've been getting used to is the balance in life, because I have a regular life with, children, family, community, everything that's kind of heavy, and then all these amazing opportunities. So I'm still for years now, especially right now, getting used to that balance. And it's a beautiful thing. Through the good days and the bad, and I'm just taking it as it is, and I'm truly blessed, to be honest. I'm truly blessed that I get to do what I do for a living. I get to make a living doing it, and it's freaking awesome,
man. Dude, that's so. You just inspired a whole lot of people to keep going after the dream. Because you're real about it. Yeah, you're going to have some bad days. You're going to have some great days. You might have to have a survival job, but it's temporary. But you can do... Dude, I think that's a perfect way to end this thing, because I think there's a lot of people out there who face those challenges and think it's the end, think they can't get it done. And you're living proof that you can if you just ride through it and keep going with it and get to do. And the other part of that is be grateful. Be grateful for the bad days and the good days, because it's all part of it, my man. You are very inspiring. This was a lot of fun. You are hilarious, but then bringing the truth, and I love that. Anybody that can mix that humor while bringing the truth, even when the truth ain't so good sometimes, dude, our favorite kind of people, my man.
Oh, thanks, yo.
Of course, man. Of course.
Of course. I love it. Well, it's all about social media now. So where can people follow you?
The only social media platform I have right now is Instagram. It's lightning.cody. That's I've been off Facebook for a couple years now, and I don't do like TikTok or anything like that. However, like my team has been saying, you need to get on TikTok. Like you would crush on TikTok. It's just I'm such a Neanderthal with technology. I'd be like, wait, how in the wait, why are there big booty pictures popping up?
Oh yeah.
So, like, I'll probably get on TikTok soon, because so many people have told me to do it, and then I have friends that are like, "Hey, man, give us your password. We'll run the thing for you, so you don't have to like stress about it." Because even with Instagram, I'm like, "Oh, look at a winter dog video, sweet. Oh wait, why am I? Hold on, wait, what's going on here?" So anyways, Instagram is the only social media handle I have right now, and that's lightning.cody. That's
easy enough. That.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We'll send all of our fans your way, and everybody be sure to check out Echo right now on Disney Plus. Stream all episodes. They're all available. And man, oh man, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll have to have you back on for the mental health podcast as well, because I feel like you have a lot of stuff with along those lines as well. And we get deep on that one, and we talk about trauma and like events and like day-to-day life and day-to-day anxieties and things like that. So I think you'd be really good for that.
For sure.
Boom. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Well, listen, brother, take care. Thank you so much. And we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, fellas. Thank you for having me.
All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. And this one is top 5 timeless Hollywood classics.
Yes.
And let me preface, classics as far as me to him are completely different. I consider classics movies that came before I was born. But to be fair, the movies that you put on there came before you were born. So I mean, they're classics to you, so we're good.
No, that's facts. That's facts. I mean, I'm just, I don't know how any other way to say it. That is the truth. And I would like to do just quickly a couple of honorable mentions, though, because neither one of us put these on our list, and I can't believe that we didn't. One, The Breakfast Club, a timeless classic that, of course, is like, how can you not have? And I feel like every single young woman's right to adulthood, Dirty Dancing. I feel like those are two timeless classics that everybody should see, that everybody probably has seen, that we ignored on the list. Sorry about that, but just honorable mentions. There they are. They're good. Don't come at us, okay? Don't come at us.
I know. An idea for next week is current day. This is me pitching, guys. I think an idea for next week is it would be very interesting to see, I guess, let's say the last 5 years, to keep it relevant. The last 5 years, what will turn into timeless classic films? We'll figure out a way to title it. But like, because a lot of films are going to get, thrown in the back seat. Nobody's going to think about them, but there's going to be those movies that are like, for my generation, I want to pass down to my children. So that'll be a hard one.
Top 5 modern films destined to become classics.
There we go.
There you go. That'll be next week. Fuck, that'll be a tough one for me, man.
I know. You're welcome.
Well, one is already, though. Fuck it. We'll talk about it next week. Let's just dive into ours right now. Classic. Let's go. Number 5.
All right. Number 5 for me, which it's timely because the sequel is about to come out this year.
Hell yeah.
I'm talking about Beetlejuice.
Don't say it. Don't say it a third time. Don't do it.
But yeah,
or do it because I want Keaton.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And our next guest. But man, I love this film. I do. The reason I put it on my list is because I feel like it's so different from anything else that has ever come out before. It's in its own genre. It's in its own lane. But I mean, so is Tim Burton, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's an out there guy, an out there individual. And I mean, I don't think you could have anyone else play the role as perfectly as Michael Keaton did. But yeah, I love this movie. I grew up with it. It's one that I had on VHS. But I think, as generations go on, people will know Beetlejuice.
Oh, without doubt.
Hopefully the sequel can live up to the original. But I'm hopeful. But yeah, number 5 for me, Beetlejuice.
I think it will. I think Burton is just another example of perfect casting. I mean, when you do Jenna Ortega as Winona Ryder's daughter, it's fucking spot on. I think the new members of the cast merging with those classic old stars are going to be. I'm so excited about this film and Michael Keaton's resurgence. We've talked about it. I just love that he's everywhere again. Spot on. Can't wait for that one. My number 5, because you guys know we're filmmakers, we're in the industry, and I love any film. We're huge fans of The Last Tycoon and stuff like that. I love any film that highlights the film industry. My number 5 is Sunset Boulevard, Billy Wilder's stark look at the film industry. It's not pretty, but it is probably... Entourage was the TV go-to. This is the film go-to of what it's really like, and it's not a great picture. It's a great film, but it doesn't paint a pretty picture of Hollywood. It kind of shows the dark side, the shady side. Great film with William Holden and Gloria Swanson and Nancy Olson and just so many amazing actors in it. And of course, Billy Wilder, one of the most all-time great film directors of all time. If you want to know what Hollywood's really all about, watch this film, Sunset Boulevard, and you're going to go, fuck. It's a really good, but Billy Wilder, when he goes from Some Like It Hot, Sunset Boulevard, to think that the same man did these two films is like, wait, what? But that's why he's a classic. Both of those films are classic, and it's because of Billy Wilder. Just a fucking genius, man. So check out my number 5, Sunset Boulevard.
Yes, I'll have to say, don't clear off this particular rundown right after we do the show, because there's... No, just 2. Because I haven't seen Sunset Boulevard or Citizen Kane. So I'll have to put those on my list. What? I know.
What?
Listen, man.
Citizen Kane is on Max right now. I saw it the other day. It's
Yeah.
on Max. No excuse.
All I know is Rosebud. That's all I know.
And then I'm going to tell you right now, if you watch, and I want to roll through this. But if you watch Citizen Kane, then watch Mank. It's about Mankiewicz, the guy that wrote it, and all the bullshit about and how he didn't get credited, basically, and how they and the disaster. You got to watch that. It's a fucking brilliant film and gives you a really good look at how fucking Citizen Kane came together. Got to do it.
For sure.
Watch both.
Gotta do it. I should have you create a list. I'll just share my Google document with you, with all my people and shit, so that you can throw some stuff on there.
For sure.
The next one, number 4 for me, classic, timeless. Nobody should ever remake this one. I mean, there's a few that fall into that category where you just can't. You can't do it. Number 4 for me goes to Back to the Future. I don't know if there were any time travel movies before Back to the Future, but they were nowhere as good as this one. Let's just be honest about it. I mean, just what they were able to do in that film, and to have such a mass audience appeal for this film, to where like everybody literally loves all 3. I mean, of course you have your opinions about the third one, whatever, but I mean the first 2 are absolutely amazing. And I feel like are the timeless classics. Those are the ones that, you know, you want to show your children and your lineage down the line, to where you're like, yes, this right here, this is what we wanted it to be. And then now us present day can go back and watch it and be like, yeah, that's not what 2003 looks like.
No, yeah. I mean, that's the fun part about it. The predictability of what they thought things were going to be and how it's not. So, yeah, that's the brilliant part about it. I'm also having a really hard time that your list of all-time classics are my kid movies, my 80s
You're
movies.
welcome.
Like when I was a kid and these were my all-time classics. All right, fine. It's fine. I was like 15 when Back to the Future came out. It's fine. It's fucking fine.
You know, a lot of these came out at least 10 years before I was born.
Yeah. Like I said, I was 15 when that one came out. And I was only, 19 when Beetlejuice came out, 18 when Beetlejuice came out, because I was 19 the following year for Batman.
That was like 88.
Yeah, 88. So, 18.
You're welcome.
Wow. I was not born for my number 4, okay? It was out well before I was born. My number 4 I chose because it's a game changer. Walt Disney changed the way films would be made forever in the world of animation. I'm talking about Snow White. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. An all-time instant classic that made a boatload of money for the time back in the day. But what was significant about it is this man actually created a camera, a specific camera to pull off the animation in the way and the style of which now we're so used to, where it looks like it's moving and you see the moon in the background, and they're kind of like, that was done, and those type animations were done because of this camera that Walt Disney and the team of Imagineers created to make Snow White. So it's hard to not put this on the list as a timeless classic of, this woman and Prince Charming and the evil witch and all that. But it's as a filmmaker, what it did to revolutionize. I mean, we get the Pixar and all the 3D and computer generated animation, but none of that exists if Walt Disney doesn't make Snow White. That's all. I mean, think about that. It's where it came from is that. So the feature-length animated film that rocked the world and changed Hollywood as far as filmmaking went at the time, and it's just brilliant. My number 4, Snow White. And if you haven't seen it, what? Don't watch the modern version, like updated on DVD and all that shit. Find the original Disney Snow White. Find it where it's still grainy and the color ain't. Just watch the original. Fucking badass film. It's a badass film.
So good, man. So good. Yeah. Absolute classic. Number 3 for me, I'm super happy that I was able to go back and watch it in the theaters because some Regal, AMC, Cinemark, all them, they do throwbacks to be able to do that. And I loved it, man. I mean, the old school film, like, it was beautiful. But number 3 for me is Who You Gonna Call? Ghostbusters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's so good. So good.
Another one of my beloved 80s.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I really feel like Ghostbusters is kind of like Beetlejuice created its own lane of genre to where you could mix between horror, ghost story, and comedy.
Oh,
And
without
that
doubt.
was never really done before. And there's a freaking amazing documentary episode on Netflix. Something about like the stories we grew up with or the movies we grew up with or something like that, to where the first Ghostbusters, like, they literally didn't know they had Bill Murray until like the first day of shooting.
Right.
Like, this is how like off the grid this man is, like, and doesn't really give people direct answers. But we love him for it. But yeah, Ghostbusters is one of those that I watched relentlessly throughout my childhood growing up. I always remember going to the library and checking out DVDs, and Ghostbusters, I checked that one out quite a few times. So yeah, number 3 for me, Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still love Ghostbusters, and I
Oh
love
yeah.
that now the Sun is redoing them and making them a continuation and getting it right. Because they had a
Yeah.
couple in between there that just like, let's forget those ever happened. And now it's getting back to, all right, now we've got the original. Now we're doing it. Now we're rocking and rolling. So I'm excited for that. My number 3, I was going to go, have so much to say about it, but now that you haven't seen it, I'm not going to say too much about it. Other than the fact that Citizen Kane is the film that marked Orson Welles as the maybe the most brilliant filmmaker of all time. He got that title, and he never quite lived up past Citizen Kane. Never was able to quite meet the expectations and meet and exceed past Citizen Kane to that level. But it is an absolutely brilliant film. It's about the death of a well-renowned, rich publisher, and I don't want to go too much into details because I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, he's and then there's the scramble. It's kind of like the Rockefellers. This guy has this like aura, and he's real famous, and he's rich, and he's like kind of a thing. But he dies, and he utters Rosebud. It's the last thing that comes out of his mouth. And so then everybody is scrambling to figure out what the fuck did he mean by Rosebud? What was that? Was that some sort of a code? Is he revealing some sort of a secret that nobody knew about? Is he going to take down Hollywood? Is he going to take down the publishing world? Is he going to so it's kind of like this grandiose look at rich folks and society folks back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like this cool mystery. And do you ever figure it out? Do you not figure it out? Is Rosebud ever revealed? I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil it for you. But it's a brilliant film. Again, I put it on my list because it's one of those filmmaker films that if you want to be a filmmaker, you should watch this film. Plain and simple. You got to watch this film if you want to be a filmmaker. Citizen Kane. Orson Welles.
There it is. There it is.
And then
we got
watch
to
Mank.
see, yeah, right. We got to see, like, I believe it was the camera that it was shot on, and like a couple of different things at the
Yes.
Academy Museum out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't checked out that, be sure to do so. And I don't think I told you, I ordered that Oscar shirt. I had to do it.
No, you had to do it.
It's if you are a filmmaker, do not subscribe to the Academy Museum's newsletter because they put out some really awesome filmmaker merch.
For
that
sure.
you just sometimes have to bend your knee and just get it.
And the coolest thing, aside from the camera that I love, they have the original script with Mankiewicz's notes, all of the notes from Wells and Mankiewicz all over it. It looked so badass, like how they have it preserved. But you can see, like, Orson just like, Mankiewicz is thinking one thing, Orson's just thinking another thing, and it's just like, it's so amazing to see the history of it all. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Number 2 for me, I think, is the second greatest mobster movie of all time, behind The Godfather. And I'm talking about Goodfellas. Oh, you think I'm funny? What kind of funny do you think I am? Joe Pesci is freaking amazing. And this film is honestly the one that put him on the map, in my opinion.
Yes.
I mean, just the dynamic and the story of Henry Hill. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. It was just such an amazing thing. And then I just love narration throughout film, especially with something like this. And at the very beginning, all my life, I grew up always knowing I wanted to be a gangster. Like, oh,
yeah, dude, it's like
it's
one of the
kinda
greatest lines, right? Like,
and it's kind of like, for me, The Outsiders, the beginning of The Outsiders, where it's like stepping out of that dark movie house. All I was thinking about the actor's name and my ride home. Like the narration in films, I feel like is so beautifully done. But yeah, Goodfellas, it's such an epic storytelling of love, loss, betrayal, like all of these things, and it's so well done. Thank you, Marty. You did amazing. But yeah, it's one of those that's a timeless classic that I feel like will live on forever. So number 2 for me, Goodfellas.
Oh, without doubt, without doubt, phenomenal film. The great Ray Liotta, just like right, like just I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. So good, so good. All right, my number 2. You hear us talk about it all the time. I reference it all the time, and I want to reference the man that I'm referencing all the time, Boris Kaufman. He is the cinematographer on my number 2, 12 Angry Men. And I reference it all the time because in correlation with the great Sidney Lumet, another all-time world-famous director, right? Considered one of the best of all time. Boris and Sidney create probably the greatest camera move that you never see. It's in 12 Angry Men about a jury trying to come to a decision, and they're all in disagreements, and they're trapped in a room. It's beat down hot. Everybody's sweating. Everybody's miserable. Everybody's getting mad. And it starts off where it's all kind of cool. And then the heat and the anger and the not being able to come to a decision, and vote after vote after vote, they can't come to a unanimous decision. And the way Sidney and Boris make you feel the pressure in the room. They start wide and high, and they slowly close, and they slowly tighten, and you're not even aware as you're watching the film that it's happening, but you feel how tense it is. You feel the pressure of having to get this verdict in. You got to get it. And it's because of their brilliant direction and their brilliant camera work that makes that film work. And then, of course, obviously the cast. I mean, Henry Fonda and just so many freaking phenomenal people in that cast. But I put it on my list because it's one of my all-time favorite filmmaker films again that makes it a classic. And that camera move has been utilized over and over and over in numerous movies. It's almost exactly duplicated in the newer version of 3:10 to Yuma. Almost exact. And it's used in our film. We use it in our film. Yeah, that deserves some fireworks right there. It's in our film, baby. So I just wanted to put it on the list. Number 2 for me, 12 Angry Men. First of all, it's a phenomenal film. It's very emotional. It's very well written, very well directed, all that kind of stuff. But watch it again. If you're a wannabe filmmaker, watch this film. Pay attention to how it's made because it's fucking phenomenal. It's a classic.
Completely agree, man. Completely agree. I remember watching it my sophomore year in high school, and I mean, ever since then, I was like hooked. It was so freaking good. Number 1 for both of us goes to Casablanca.
Duh.
I feel like one of the best films of all time. Humphrey Bogart absolutely kills it. If you look back here, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, he's in that picture.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Ingrid Bergman, maybe your distant relative, who knows?
I'm not. It's one in.
Damn.
I know. I wish it was Great Auntie Ingrid. I wish it was, but it's not.
Right. But I mean, I just feel like this is the classic love story of, the wanting someone so bad, but then in your heart knowing you can't have them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. I actually just went back and watched it like a month ago because it's so good. And I mean, this is what I'm talking about. And this is what we talk about all the time. Warner Brothers is such a historic freaking studio that is getting thrown down the garbage right now because of Zaslav. But I mean, Casablanca, it's a timeless classic that I feel like, everybody can relate to. And I mean, I love that song that they play too. It's so good.
Yeah. And it's one of those odd things where it's a love story set during a war. Like it's during a wartime movie, the World War II, but it's a love story surrounded about the whole plot line is around Nazis and World War II Germany and France. And it's odd that it's a love story, but it's the one that got away because the moral dilemma that he's struggling with is, does he help his former lover and her new husband get away from the Nazis. And this is the one that got away from him, but it's the love of his life. And, and it's so many great lines, so many great iconic lines in that film. And like you said, the songs that came out of that film, and just everything, the direction, the acting, the camera work, the score, just everything about it. And I'm sure when it was pitched, people were like, huh? Are you sure? We want a love story in the war? We don't want to take Nazis on. But it fucking works. I don't think it works without Bogart and Bergman. I don't think it does. But, man, what a fucking film. Yeah, it deserves to be the all-time classic at the top of the list, because, come on, man. Casablanca.
I mean, the freaking most notable line, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday and for the rest of your life. Oh,
right?
Like
right? Come on, you know the other one, right? You know the other one.
Which one?
Come on. It's got something to do with lips.
I don't remember.
All right, yeah. All right, so that's the tease, guys. Tell me the other line that you think I'm talking about. Comment in the section below. Put it out there. Let's see who knows it. Let's see who gets it. And if you don't, watch the film. You got to watch the film. That's what we're trying to do. Get you to watch all these amazing classic films if you haven't seen them. So, what a list, man. That was so good.
It's so good. So good. And of course, we can't name everything. So we want to know, what is your timeless Hollywood classic? Please be sure to comment below in the YouTube comment section, or add us on X or Threads. We love the fan interaction. So please be sure to let us know what was your favorite film that came out before your time. I think it's so good, man.
Yes.
I think it's so good.
That's what we're defining as classic, a film that came out before your time.
Exactly. Well, we're heading over to the box office recap. And of course, like we called last week, Argyle came in at number 1. I'm sad that it only made $18 million.
Yeah.
Only $18 million. I wish it was more. The second one was The Chosen, season 4, episode 1 through 3, made $6 million.
Yeah.
Religion. I feel like this is deja vu, because I feel like this same list, this has happened before.
Yeah.
3 was The Beekeeper, Jason Statham's action film with $5.2 million. Good for him for sticking around with that.
Yep.
4 is Wonka with 4.8, and 5 was Migration with 4.1. Anyone But You finally got kicked off the top 5 of the recap.
Yeah,
so,
and it's just interesting that one of the films is literally a TV show that they made into a film with 3 episodes, and that it's killing at the box office. It's like, what? Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, massive Christian fan base, man.
It's true.
I mean, because it's all about Jesus.
Yeah,
it's all about Jesus. New movies coming out this week are Air Force One Down.
Yes.
Anyone But You, the Valentine's Encore, apparently a re-release.
Yep.
Another re-release, Dune reissue.
Yep.
I want to say Frankenstein, but Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes.
And Float. And of course, movies you can still go see right now: Night Swim, The Boys in the Boat, American Fiction, Origin, and Scrambled.
Yes.
I saw American Fiction. It was really good. The first act was a little slow, but Sterling K, Jeffrey Wright, director, film. I see why it got nominated. Very good. Very good. And I know you saw Origin as well.
I did. Phenomenal film. It holds my level with Johnny Bernthal. Like just steals the film. But the entire cast is phenomenal, and it's a very gripping, hard to watch story sometimes. They don't hold back. Yeah. It's kind of like you're going to get emotional. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to leave it at that, but go see it. It's a pivotally important film. And I also watched May December. That one was really it's based. There's no way it's not based on the Mary Kay Letourneau story. If you guys remember the teacher who had the affair with the kid and got pregnant and went to prison and had the baby, and then they were still together afterwards. Now they have this one. She's working in a pet store. It's not a teacher, but it's the same premise, and it's out there. But Natalie Portman does a phenomenal job, and it's out there. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Hey, and for those new movies coming out, go check out Air Force One Down with our former guest on ITCAFpodcast, the lovely Catherine McNamara. She's the star of that film. So how awesome is that? She's getting a theatrical film release. That's badass. Go Catherine. So check that one out if you get a chance.
Definitely. Well, now we're heading over to the IMDb Pros top trending segment. The top trending movie is Poor Things. I definitely want to watch that. With Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo.
Yep.
And Ruffalo just got his star on the Walk of Fame, so
Yes.
congratulations to him. Television show in the trending is True Detective. I hear this new season is doing amazing numbers, so I mean that only makes sense. And Sofia Vergara is the top trending star right now, and I'm guessing it's because of Grisadella,
Yep.
her new TV mini series that she has on right now.
Yep.
So yeah, kudos to all of them. Kudos to everybody out there listening to us because we appreciate you.
Yes.
Man, oh man, if you are participating in the Mardi Gras festivities this last weekend and on Tuesday, be sure to stay safe out there. Hydrate. That's definitely important. But we want to thank our guest one more time, Cody Lightning, for coming on the show and getting a little crazy with us. Be sure to follow him on Instagram, lightning.cody, and be sure to check out Echo on Disney Plus. All episodes available right now.
Yes.
And of course, be sure to follow us and the company and podcast on social media at Crazy Ant Media, at ITCAFpodcast, and our mental health podcast at Everything's OKP. We just had a new episode come out last week. It was another family sessions with myself and my stepfather. It was a good conversation. I really enjoyed it.
It was really good.
I felt like, it was a very free-flowing conversation. All of our episodes have been great, but I definitely feel like that might have been my favorite episode, obviously. And it was just, we do have another one coming out in a couple weeks about anxiety. So be sure to follow us to make sure you know when it comes out.
Yes.
All the good things. And you guys know you can follow us both personally on social media. Myself at JLoganAustin and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. If you're watching this video on YouTube, we appreciate you. Be sure to hit that like button below on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell and stay up to date with everything happening at Crazy Ant Media. Man, oh man. And be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. Like I said, 15% off all merchandise right now until the 12th. So be sure to check that out.
Facts.
Man, I gotta say, I bumble and stumble, but I mean, towards the end of that show, I was on it. So now my voice is like, no, you're not allowed. You have to bumble and stumble again.
That's right. You're a bumbler and stumbler, and that's okay.
That's okay. That's fine. I go through phases.
That's right.
But man, I will say it was a great industry news. I feel like there was a lot of things happening, and of course the guest segment, but you ended up with a lot of the big stories this week, and I was just like, okay, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
It just, you never know how it plays out. I just
really
randomly
don't.
start plugging them in. And like, sometimes I think we do a really good job though. If we know that there's one the other one wants, we pass it.
Oh yeah.
We do really good at that. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I just start plugging away and I'm like, well, here it goes. Here's the order. You know what I really liked about this show though? Keeping it real. It was the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right? Because our stories were some really good stuff, some really bad stuff, and then just like, Majors with the ugly. And Dan Schneider with the ugly. Because we're keeping it real. If it's happening in Hollywood, we're talking about it, and we need you to know everything that's happening in Hollywood, whether it's good or bad. Because if you're getting in the industry, you need to know. You need to be aware. So, and I like that we can do that. I like that we can bring it to people and keep it real, man.
For sure. It's not all about sunshine and rainbows. When life pushes you down, you get back up and get what you want.
That's right.
If you guys know what movie that's from, be sure to comment below.
And if you don't, what? How did we not put that on the list?
I know.
That
I thought
should
about
definitely,
it. It was almost on my list, too.
I feel like, especially after last week's passing, it should have been. Fuck. Yeah, another honorable mention. Just put it out there, and we're not going to tell you because now we want you to know if you know.
Figure it out.
But
yeah, figure it out. But it's always a good show when we get to talk about The Color Purple and the amazing producer person behind it because she was in the original, the one, the Oprah.